Sabah, a Malaysian state on Borneo, is famed for its rainforests and Mount Kinabalu. But beneath its beauty lies a centuries-old question: who truly owns Sabah? Is it Malaysia, which has governed Sabah for over 60 years? Or does the Philippines' claim, rooted in the legacy of the Sulu Sultanate, still hold weight? For most Sabahans, the answer is clear. They see themselves as Malaysians, living, voting, and building their lives within Malaysia. Yet, the dispute lingers, raising questions about history, identity, and the right of people to determine their own future. To understand this, we must journey back in time to the age of sultans, colonial powers, and a single document that changed Sabah's destiny. Centuries ago, long before modern borders were drawn, Sabah was a vibrant crossroads of trade and culture. Its strategic location on the northern tip of Borneo made it a magnet for merchants, adventurers, and empires. Ships laden with spices, textiles, and precious goods docked at its ports, bringing together people from distant lands and weaving Sabah into the fabric of global commerce. For generations, the powerful Brunei Sultanate ruled over Sabah, exerting influence across the region. But in the early 18th century, a civil war erupted within Brunei, weakening its grip. In 1704, as a gesture of gratitude for military support, the Sultan of Brunei granted the northeastern part of Borneo to the Sultan of Sulu, a move that would have far-reaching consequences. Fast forward to 1878. The Sultan of Sulu, seeking to secure his hold and perhaps profit from his distant territory, entered into an agreement with British traders. This pact granted the British control over his Bornean lands, but the exact nature of the deal would soon become a source of confusion and controversy. The British North Borneo Company quickly assumed administration, treating the agreement as a permanent cession of territory. They established colonial rule, built infrastructure, and governed Sabah as their own. Yet, the Sultanate of Sulu continued to receive annual payments from the British. To the Sulu royals, these payments were rent, a clear sign in their eyes that they had never truly given up ownership of Sabah. This subtle but crucial difference in interpretation would haunt the region for generations. This dual interpretation, was it a sale or merely a lease, remained unresolved throughout decades of British rule. Legal scholars, colonial administrators, and local leaders all debated the true meaning of the 1878 agreement, but no consensus was ever reached. As the great colonial empires of Europe faded and new nations emerged across Southeast Asia, the ambiguity surrounding Sabah's status set the stage for a major international dispute, one that would draw in neighboring countries and ignite passionate debates about history, sovereignty, and identity. The fate of Sabah would soon become a flashpoint between Malaysia and the Philippines, with both sides invoking history, law, and national pride in their claims. At the heart of this enduring controversy lies the meaning of a single word in that 1878 agreement, a word whose interpretation continues to shape the destiny of Sabah and the region to this day. The heart of the Sabah dispute lies in the interpretation of a single pivotal word found in the 1878 agreement between the Sultanate of Sulu and British representatives. This word, written in antique Malay script, has become the focal point of a complex and enduring international controversy. For over a century, its meaning has been debated by scholars, politicians, and legal experts, each side seeking to prove their claim to the territory. The Philippines insists that the word in question means lease. According to their interpretation, the Sultan of Sulu never intended to permanently give up Sabah. Instead, they argue, the agreement was a rental arrangement, allowing the British to administer the land while the Sultan retained ultimate sovereignty. This view is supported by the continued annual payments made to the heirs of the Sultan, which the Philippines sees as rent, not a purchase price. For the Philippines, this distinction is crucial. They believe that since the land was only leased, sovereignty should rightfully revert to the heirs of the Sultanate, and by extension, to the Philippines itself. Malaysia, on the other hand, inherited the British interpretation, which claims the word meant cession, a permanent and irrevocable transfer of sovereignty. From this perspective, the 1878 agreement was a sale, not a lease, and thus Sabah became an integral part of Malaysia when it gained independence. Malaysian officials point to colonial-era documents and treaties, arguing that international law and historical precedent support their claim. They maintain that the payments were a token gesture, not rent, and that the matter was settled decades ago. The annual payments, which the Philippines views as rent, were halted by Malaysia in 2013 following a violent incursion by armed men claiming to represent the Sultanate of Sulu. This event reignited tensions and brought the dispute back into the international spotlight, raising questions about the legitimacy and future of these payments. Both sides have taken their arguments to international forums, including the United Nations and various courts, each presenting historical documents, legal analyses, and appeals to the principle of self-determination. The debate is not just about legal technicalities, but also about national pride, identity, and the legacy of colonialism in Southeast Asia. The Philippines argues passionately for its historical rights, emphasizing the long-standing ties between the Sultanate of Sulu and the territory of Sabah. Filipino historians and legal experts continue to search for new evidence in archives, hoping to strengthen their case and reclaim what they see as rightfully theirs. Malaysia, meanwhile, points to the colonial borders established during British rule, and importantly, to the will of Sabah's people. In a 1963 referendum, the majority of Sabahans chose to join Malaysia, a fact that Malaysian leaders argue should be respected above all else. This unresolved legal and linguistic debate continues to keep the issue alive, with no clear resolution in sight. Courts and international bodies have yet to deliver a definitive answer, and both nations remain steadfast in their positions. The question remains, should the weight of history and ancient agreements determine Sabah's fate, or should the voices and aspirations of present-day Sabahans take precedence? The people of Sabah, living their daily lives, are caught between these competing narratives, their future still uncertain. The answer is far from simple. As long as the meaning of that one word remains contested, the Sabah question will continue to echo through the halls of diplomacy, law, and the hearts of those who call this land home. The Sabah-Philippines connection isn't just legal, it's cultural and personal. For centuries, the Sulu Sea united communities on both sides. Families intermarried, traded, and shared traditions. The Tausug people, known as Suluk in Sabah, still influence local culture and identity. In the Philippines, the claim to Sabah is seen as reuniting a divided people. But in Sabah, most, including those of Suluk descent, identify as Malaysians, not Filipinos. Modern migration from the southern Philippines has created new challenges, straining Sabah's resources and fueling tensions. The region's shared past now complicates its present. As the British Empire ended, Sabah's future was decided not by force, but by consultation. The 1962 Cobbled Commission found most Sabahans favored joining Malaysia, seeking independence and stability. A UN mission confirmed this choice, and in 1963, Sabah officially became part of Malaysia. For Malaysia, this is the final word. The people chose their destiny. The Philippines objected, calling it neo-colonialism, but international observers validated Sabahans' decision. Malaysia argues that self-determination trumps old treaties and sultanates. For most Sabahans, the debate is settled. They are Malaysians by choice, not by conquest. The question now is whether history or the people's will should prevail. Today, Sabah stands as a land of remarkable diversity and economic promise. Its landscape is shaped by thriving palm oil estates, bustling oil and gas industries, and a tourism sector that draws visitors from around the world to its pristine beaches and vibrant coral reefs. These industries are the backbone of Sabah's economy, fueling growth and providing livelihoods for countless families across the state. Over 30 indigenous groups, each with their own languages, customs, and traditions, live alongside Chinese and Malay communities. Together, they create a vibrant cultural mosaic that is unique to Sabah. This rich tapestry of cultures is celebrated in daily life, from lively festivals to the diverse foods found in local markets, making Sabah a place where heritage and modernity blend seamlessly. Yet, challenges persist. Undocumented immigration from the southern Philippines continues to strain public services, such as healthcare and education, and stirs ongoing security concerns. The state's proximity to international borders means Sabah must remain vigilant, balancing openness with the need to protect its communities and resources. Some Sabahans feel their state doesn't receive its fair share of wealth or the autonomy promised when it joined Malaysia in 1963. Calls for greater control over natural resources and more say in local governance remain strong, as many believe these changes are essential for Sabah's future prosperity and self-determination. Despite these ongoing issues, most Sabahans focus on what matters most: peace, stability, and building a better future for their children within Malaysia. Daily life is filled with hope and resilience, as people work hard to improve their communities and support one another. The territorial dispute with neighboring countries rarely dominates daily life. For most, security and prosperity are far more pressing concerns, shaping the rhythm of everyday existence in Sabah's towns and villages. For Sabahans, their unique identity is a deep source of pride. They cherish their heritage and want it respected, both within Malaysia and beyond. This sense of belonging unites communities and inspires a shared vision for the future. Ultimately, the real story of Sabah is about its people, their dreams, their struggles, and their determination to shape their own destiny. Beyond the headlines and politics, it is the everyday lives and enduring spirit of Sabahans that truly define this remarkable state. Imagine Sabah becoming part of the Philippines. Proponents see it as righting a historical wrong and boosting the Philippine economy with Sabah's resources. But for Sabah's nearly 4 million people, most of whom identify as Malaysians, the prospect is alarming. Forced integration could spark unrest, economic chaos, and a loss of identity. The transition would disrupt legal systems, finances, and daily life, risking instability and hardship. The Philippines would face the challenge of integrating a territory with a distinct culture and history. Instead of unity, the result could be conflict and disillusionment. The people most affected would be those the claim is meant to help. The Sabah dispute isn't just about treaties or borders, it's about people. Nearly 4 million Sabahans have built their lives, families, and futures in Malaysia. Malaysia's case rests on their right to self-determination, exercised in 1963. The Philippines seeks historical justice for the Sulu Sultanate, arguing the process was flawed. But the pursuit of old claims clashes with the reality and wishes of Sabah's people today. Any solution must prioritize their security, prosperity, and right to choose. Ignoring their voices is not just impractical, it's unjust. The future of Sabah should be decided by Sabahans themselves. The only way forward is peaceful dialogue, not confrontation. Any negotiation must put Sabahans' voices at the center, not just those of Kuala Lumpur or Manila. Evidence shows Sabahans overwhelmingly identify as Malaysians and value their stability. A practical solution could involve a final settlement with the Sulu heirs and enhanced cooperation between Malaysia and the Philippines. Dropping the territorial claim in favor of regional partnership would benefit everyone. Ultimately, people matter more than maps. The welfare and self-determination of Sabahans should guide any resolution. The land below the wind deserves a future built on respect, peace, and mutual understanding.